Hi, everyone. My name is John DePietro.
And I'm Bob Zagami with the Camper Report Show.
And on this Camper Report Show, we are going to learn all about the record-setting 12th annual RV Power Breakfast, which you and I just got back from in Elkhart, Indiana. It was
Beautiful,
quite
beautiful,
an event.
beautiful downtown Elkhart, Indiana, at the new conference center at the Hall of Fame. Yep.
It was quite a
And
show. How
yep.
about
And
you?
I've got a great interview with the new Vice President of Sales for Airstream, Brian Melton. Very, very enlightening conversation, and he's the new guy on the block.
Well, and this is the time we usually say we get all our news from where?
RV Business and Rick Kessler and Woodall's Campground Magazine from Ben Quiggle.
Which is kind of true because we interviewed them during that event, which we're going to talk about when we come back right here. Where, Mr. Zagami?
On the Camper Report Show.
Attention all RVers. Say goodbye to roof worries and hello to worry-free travel with RV Roof Magic. This revolutionary liquid butyl roof coating is specially formulated to protect your RV from the elements, to extend its lifespan and prevent leaks. With simple application and outstanding results, RV Roof Magic is the go-to choice for RV owners seeking superior roof protection. Don't let roof maintenance issues hold you back. RV Roof Magic is the only liquid butyl rubber in the world that offers a one-coat, no primer coverage and a 10-year warranty. Visit rvroofmagic.com/RVLife and extend your roof another 18 to 20 years. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Camp Report Show. My name is John DePietro. That gentleman over there is Bob Zagami. And Bob, you know what? The jet lag days are over. We're back from a blockbuster trip to Elkhart, but one of the highlights of Elkhart was certainly the RV Power Breakfast. 1,300 of our best friends in the RV and camping business, and we weren't even jammed into one little building. Talk about that.
It was just a huge event because they built a new conference center, another building at the Hall of Fame, and this was the christening of it. And they were just breaking out at the seams last year at the original conference center room. This one looked like 5 football fields full of people, and it was great. The audio was good, the video was good, and it's always a good cast of characters. Now, what was exciting this year is this is the 12th one. So for the first 11, the MC would be BJ Thompson, who helped put the idea together originally, but BJ has been put to the side, and Rick Kessler.
Greg Four has done it as well.
Greg Four was in there for a little while too, yeah.
Yeah.
But Rick Kessler, who owns G&G Media, which owns RV Business, which owns Woodall's Campground Magazine, Rick Kessler stood in as the master of ceremonies. He was a little nervous before the lights went on and TV cameras went on.
Little nervous is probably the understatement of the day, because we saw him at 6:30 in the morning. The event was scheduled to start at 6:45. And I don't think he even knew who he was, let alone who we were. Because you know what? You've got the shoulders, the weight of the whole event is riding on your shoulders. And there was some crazy weather that was going on, which ultimately not delayed, but prohibited one of the main speakers, Bob Tiff. Well, actually, the two Tiffin, the Tiffin father and
Yeah, Lee Tiffin, Tim Tiffin,
grandson and grandfather.
Right.
But you know what? Kessler, went over it like a pro. They didn't miss a beat. They brought some people from the second half of the show. But like I saw, let's do some stargazing here, because here's who I saw. Then you tell me who you saw. I saw Bob Martin, okay, from Thor, probably the #1 RV company executive in the world, okay? We saw Don Clark from Grand Design. We saw Marcus Lemonis from Camping World. We saw Doug Gedart from Forest River. We saw several other vice presidents, Jeff Runnels from Keystone.
Well, he's the president of Keystone.
Yep.
We saw Brian Clemens at Dynamax.
Yep.
We saw Walt Burns from Easy Care.
Yep.
We saw
Walt Burns the night before too, up until about 11:30 at night.
Right. He was nice enough to pick up the tab.
Yep. Yeah. Too bad
And
we had already eaten before that, though.
right, and I saw Mark Harlett from Truma.
Yep.
He was there. Ashley Bontrager, Lehman from Ember
Amber.
RVs. She was there.
I didn't
Uh,
see Lisa Reese from East to West, though. Did you see her?
no, I didn't. No,
Didn't see
and Pete
her.
Legal wasn't there. But everybody was there. You know, the good thing about this breakfast is they started early in the morning, 6:45, and they
Yep.
tried to end it by 7, I mean by 10, so that people could get back to the factories and get out there. And you know, the first half of the program, it's the required part of the program. They had the mayor of Elkhart,
Mayor.
Ron Robinson,
Yep.
he was there. The second event was an interesting discussion with Marcus Lemonis and CEO of Camping World and Matt Wagner, who is the chief operating officer, and they were going to be questioned by Sherm Goldenberg. Of course, for those of us who have been around a long time, Sherm Goldenberg used to work for Marcus Lemonis when he owned the Affinity Group and owned both of those magazines. So you could tell there was a little bit of tension there. So I don't think there was too much love lost on either one. But Marcus had some interesting comments. He had some spicy language that wasn't quite appropriate for a room full of 1,300 professionals. But once it got out of his mouth, you couldn't take it back in. And he did most of the talking and talked about mending the industry and fixing some of the problems in the industry. But he got to mention that he caused some of those problems. So it was kind of
But,
like,
but
let's all get together now and make this thing work.
he also mostly talked about Marcus too.
Yes, yes, yes.
Me. But you know what? Look at the company is far and away the largest retailer in the United States. It's always interesting to hear what the top people have to say. And here's what he said. And he pretty much put his whole marketing plan out there
Right.
on the table in front of all the competitors and all the people that he buys from and those that he won't even sell to him. Is that he wants to sell to somebody who wants to spend $200 a month. Okay, whether it's a travel trailer, whether it's motorized. Again, he does a lot more travel trailers. But that's his target market, $200. He said, I don't sell the big 45-foot diesel pushers. I want value, and that's what he said. But he was
But he
just
said
one
he
of
said he said a third of his inventory at his 120, 130 plus dealerships, a third of the inventory were RVs under $30,000.
yep,
So
yep,
he's mastered the art of going after the first time buyer and having a closing system that works for them and gets that customer to buy.
yep.
But you're right, he did lay the whole thing out, and you might not like him, you might not like some of the things he does, but he's the true American spirit and American entrepreneur. If you don't like something that somebody else does, then go out and do it better. But
Do it better, right?
he has set a very high standard for the industry.
Yep.
And as the industry now tries to recover from this little mini recession, then there are things that the industry as a whole can do to improve the customer experience, to improve the quality of the products. And he's saying, count me in. So,
Brought me in. So
yep,
the other speakers that we had the head men's basketball coach at the University of Notre Dame, Coach Shrewsbury,
yep.
and he spoke a little bit about never giving up. You never know where you're going to go, but never accept short-term defeat when you can have a long-term victory. So he was pretty interesting.
You know what I found interesting with his speech? Many times when you bring a national coach, a prominent person in for a speech, they tend to be a lot of rah-rah and highly motivated,
No, he
yelling.
was not at all.
No, this
No.
was as if you were having dinner with him at a
Yep.
real nice restaurant and just talking to each other.
Yep.
Soft, right to the point, excellent presentation, and got his message across really well. I think
Yep.
people really enjoyed
Yep.
having. Yeah.
I think the person who got her message across really well. In fact, I think she was the feature. I think she was the highlight of the facts and figures, and that is, of course, Toby O'Rourke, the CEO of KOA. And she, along with our friend Scott Baer from Portland, Maine, put together all of these stats about all the different trends in camping. And Toby is a master of the stage. I mean, she gets around that stage. She has that little clicker, and she throws out facts and figures that make you wonder, how did they get this material? But they do extensive polling of people, and some of her comments were very interesting. In that, one of the things that I thought was, of all the people that are camping right now that own their own camper, they would consider renting one if the rental company brought it right to the campground and set it up for them. Did you find that interesting?
Yeah, and RV Share and Outdoorsly have mastered that, and it's
Yep.
really gotten a lot more people into the peer-to-peer network. They worry about somebody taking it down the street and driving it all around, but the owner of the unit will take it to a campground, set it up, teach them how to use it, come back at the end of the week and take it home. And they like that combination. Toby's probably my all-time favorite speaker in any industry. She's always well prepared. She's got great delivery, and she delivers, as you said, amazing information and statistics on this industry that Scott Baer at Cairn Consulting, who does all of these research reports, and they actually changed the name of the report this year. They changed it a little bit last year, but this year it has been changed to the Camping and Outdoor Hospitality Report
As
2020.
opposed to the North American Camping
And
Report.
they put a lot of new sections into it. And interesting enough, there's so much data that they've already issued the initial report itself.
Yep.
And they're going to release another section of the report each month. Now, if you think back to the North American Camper Report and glamping they had in there one year, that was one report. But then they subsequently had a monthly report that was like a one-pager that they would do. And that proved to be so successful that now they've made the report more extensive, and they're going to do the monthly contribution is going to be more extensive.
Yeah.
But she is always the top presenter at the show, no
Yeah.
question.
And we're going to hear more from her today, later on in this show, as we speak
Right.
with you, Rick Kessler, and her. And then you did an extensive interview with her that in the coming weeks, it'll just be Bob and Toby talking about what's going on for KOA in the future. And there's some exciting things going on.
Yep.
So,
And they finished up with an economist, and I can't
Yep.
remember his name, but
Yep.
it was not Peter Maurici, who they've had the last 2 years. But
Yep.
the gentleman was very good. He had some very complex slides. The bottom line is that we're going in the right direction, and 2025 is going to be a good year. And he gave some really detailed reports, and they're going to be available. Rick is in the process of breaking down the video of the entire conference.
into
So
bite-sized pieces.
I talked to him the other day, it should be sometime this week that you will be able to go onto the RV business site and pick the presentations one at a time. So you can, if you want to see
Yep.
Toby's presentation, click on that. So he's going to break that entire video up into
Perfect.
small pieces, which is great. He did it last year, and
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
will
And
soon
we're
again make sure we get it into the program.
he set the bar so high for himself this time. He's going to have to do a lot for next
Well,
year.
he
Already looking
really
forward to it.
did. You know, it's his first year doing it. He's done amazing things since he
Yep.
purchased the magazine with Scott Strotsky. So yeah, big
Great.
things for next year.
So that is the news section, which we say we usually get all our stories from RV Business and Woodall's, but this time we got them from RV Business and Woodall's live and in person with Rick and Ben and Scott and Chris and the whole gang over there. So we'll be
sir.
back with two great stories right after this, right here. Where, Bob?
At the Camper Report Show.
Stay with us, everyone.
Hey there, RVers. We get it. Your insurance and warranty needs are as unique as your travel destinations. That's why RVer Insurance has teamed up with Wholesale Warranties to cover all the bases. From health insurance to RV coverage and warranties, we've got you sorted every step of the way. With a solid track record in providing top-notch health insurance and affordable RV insurance options, RV Insurance has you covered. And for those unexpected repair bills, look no further than our friends at Wholesale Warranties, leaders in reliable coverage and customer support. Start your RV protection journey today at rverinsurance.com or wholesalewarranties.com/RVer Insurance. Hey everybody, we are at the 12th annual RV Power Breakfast, and we're with the new MC, the one who's been here a long time, but you've got a new expanded role. You got the jitters. I mean, when I saw you at 6:45 this morning, there was no smile on that face.
There's a big smile now.
But now it's relief, but it's got to be satisfaction.
Yeah, I would say so. It's definitely relief that it's over, but satisfaction that it was. Everyone's telling us anyway. It was a very good event.
Well, plus I'm going to interrupt you because I see Bob Martin here. Okay? He's probably the number one RV exec in at least the United States, if not the world. Okay? And here it is, 3 hours, and he's still here. Okay? You know, I always said, you're throwing a good party when the scheduled ending time is expired and the heavyweights are still here. He's still here. You gotta feel gratified.
I feel very gratifying. The goal every year is to provide a lineup of speakers that will present relevant and timely information so that the 1,300 plus people can go back to their jobs today.
Utilize them.
And like Toby said, with usable information. And I think we accomplished that.
Yep. The other thing is this. There was a travel snafu with one of the main speakers. But you know what? You wouldn't know it because you pivoted. You brought some people from the second half of the show onto the first half of the show. And time-wise, you're still again, looking around, people are still engaged. That's how I always used to figure out if I put on a good event. If they're still here at closing time. And the last thing you want as a speaker to be the last one up there to look out into an audience and say, okay, everybody, we're done. Oh, wait a minute. You left 2 hours ago. So now you got to do a bigger one for next year.
Oh yeah, thank you for that.
You know what? It's like you win the World Series or the NBA championship or the Super Bowl, and some reporter says, "Well, how about next year? Let me enjoy this one." So
we'll have to get you on stage next year.
We'll figure out what we can do. But everything. Look,
but not Zagano.
But you got a new building, right? You had the challenge of coming to a new building. You had no idea how the sound system would work. I mean, you can rehearse the day before, but is it going to rain like heck outside? And then you hear the noise coming through. But this looks like it's
You did okay.
You did darn okay. Perfect parking, and the intro was arrival was smooth. They had enough food stations. Now you got to have the post-mortem.
We will.
Quickly.
We will.
And figure out what you want to do.
We talked about it. We got some pretty good ideas. Real top this year's lineup.
You want to tell us right away what you want to bring
No.
in? No. I thought we could get a scoop and put it in the Camp Report Show, which is co-hosted and co-sponsored by Woodall's Campground Ventures. He walks right in. Toby, come on in. Come on in. We have Toby O'Rourke here from KOA. What did you think of the event? Because it was Rick's first time. He doesn't have the right goal.
Wait a minute. Toby's my interview.
I know, but I just wanted to bring her into it.
I thought this was a really great event. I enjoyed it. I thought the business content was really great. I really enjoyed having Marcus Lamont here. I thought he was just
brought a little edge
really
to
good
it.
edge.
Yes.
Good word. I really enjoyed that. I thought he and his head of operations had a lot of things to say.
Toby, you go to events and conventions all over the world. But here it is, 3.5 hours into it, and like Bob Martin, some of the biggest people in the business, including himself, are still here. That says it was a good thing.
Yeah, I think this has just become a priority for all the leaders in the industry. I mean, I was just in DC 2 days ago with many people in this room, and everyone said, "See you Thursday." Like everybody prioritized getting back so they could be picture. And I can't believe how big coming, I think since the very first one or first or second, it's just doubled in size. You know, I think that this has just been really good for the whole industry, and it's nice that you're bringing everybody across the ecosystem together. That seems to be the theme.
That guarantees you now that you'll be asked back.
Toby
We always love to be here.
I said it on stage and I meant it. Her presentation is always the highlight.
The
question.
Yep. The research that you do, where you could coast. I mean, you're already at the top of the totem pole as far as people knowing campgrounds, and it'd be easy for you to coast and go down to.
Yeah, we just we like data. You know, like I said, we've always invested in this research, but where we're now not posting is investing in really getting deep on our own customer data. So research, you know, is broad spectrum what people say they're going to do, but actually adding data scientists to our team that are looking at our own customer data, that's taking us to a new level. And that we're really excited about.
One of the things that we found, hold on one thing, then I'll let you take over, and then I'll get off it. But one of the things that Ben is already figuring out, he's trying to ask Rick if he could fly to San Francisco because he wants to do a special segment on street camping.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right?
jeez.
Street camping, car camping.
And then he's going to college campuses too.
They combine it all in one.
I'm really fascinated by it.
You got to.
His version of street camping is a lot different than what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Well, I thought when I saw that, and
was
what
only
I thought it
joking, but-
was. Well, no, I thought it was
We still
people
on?
living in RVs. You know, for example, Bozeman, Montana, housing is extremely expensive. So it's kind of an issue. A lot of people are living in RVs like on streets. That's what I thought street camping was. But then we dug into it. Nope, it's just like living on the street. So there's a lot to unpack there.
Where Scott Baird is in Portland, Maine, they have an amazing situation with all these old beat-up RVs that don't work, that people have just moved downtown and they're camping, and it's going to be trouble this summer with the tour.
In your street camping, did it include the Walmarts and camping, Cracker Barrel?
Yeah, probably. It would just be part of the yeah, I think that definitely.
So this 2-minute report, which is now 11 minutes, has been brought to you by Woodall's Campground Magazine. We'll be back with more after this.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Camper Report Show. And my guest this morning is Brian Melton, the new VP of Sales at Airstream. And Brian, I'm delighted that you could join us and get you on the show.
Hey, I'm delighted to be here. Thank you for thinking of Airstream. I appreciate it. Appreciate the time.
Well, you know, it's such an iconic brand that it just transgressed, you know, the whole industry. If you go way back to when Wade and Peter Orthorn purchased the company and then acquisition by Thor. And it's just one of those, you know, brands that sticks out nationwide. How long have you been with the company, and how did you start your ascent into where you are now?
Yeah, no, I appreciate the opportunity to tell a little bit of my story, I guess. I started Airstreaming, and I bought my first Airstream in 2007, I guess is what it was. It was a model year 2008 International. Bought it in Southern California, where I was working at the time, and had a place up in the Northwest, and I would stay in it. That was kind of where I stayed when I was down at the main office down in California. Kind of fell in love with the brand, fell in love with the product, and eventually kind of made my way from the West Coast, where I grew up, to Ohio, where I live now with my family. Because of Airstream. So,
You went, went right to the top. You went right to the top with the International, so you weren't going to mess around with any of the smaller ones.
well, I did have a bit of a smaller one. In fact, the photo that's behind me, you know, not placed for this at all. It's just kind of funny. It's actually very similar to what I had back at the time in California. And so the reason why each one of us in our office were able to select a photo from kind of this photo log, and that one kind of represented my memories of my unit back in California. So kind of brings back good old memories.
Was that a Bambi?
That's actually a Caravel, which is a
Caravel,
current
yeah.
model line, made after kind of the older, you know, up kind of higher end International. Back then it was Christopher Deem. It was an International signature, and it was a signature edition that Airstream did in conjunction with that designer. Kind of one of the interesting aspects, you know, Airstream's always had this iconic exterior look. The interior that was pretty a very transformational period for Airstream when they came up with these kind of designer series that they had. It brought me to the brand, among other things. But I've been now here at Airstream for almost 10 years.
So how did you get to Airstream from your prior career?
Well, I mean, it's a bit of a long story. I'll shorten it up by stating that, prior to this, I was in the bicycle industry. I helped run bicycle companies on the sales side, so similar to what I'm doing here, but just in that type of an industry. Very passionate in that, and still passionate in that business. And again, I bought the Airstream, fell kind of in love with the product, and when I was taking a look at what next steps are there for Brian, family, etc. I reached out to Bob Wheeler, and we met together, and I guess the rest is history, if you want, as they say it.
Well, that's pretty good. So as VP of Sales, you are responsible for both the motorized division and the towables division, but you came into that position as the GM of towables. So what
Yes.
are one or two of the most popular towables in the Airstream line these days?
Well, our number one selling model is the base camp. It's also our most kind of affordable and the most accessible. If you're going out for we call them weekend warriors. If you're a full-time individual working full-time and you just want to go out for a weekend and bring your gear with you, do some mountain biking or some hiking, just to kind of get away from home, the base camp is perfect for that. Does really well. So does like the Bambi and Caravel that we have kind of behind me. But that model is our best selling model. Kind of a nice highlight, if you will, would be the new Tradewind. Tradewind is a brand new product that we brought to market this year, and has done very, very well, allowing for more, kind of speaking more to those that are looking to get off grid. It has a much larger battery capacity, much bigger solar, recharging ability, and it has a recirculating hot water. You have an option of a composting toilet, so you can really get off grid for a long period of time.
Well, that's interesting because when I look at, my history with Airstream, prior to the base camp and now the Tradewind, they were no question, they were the Cadillac of the industry, but it was a high-end unit that a lot of people aspired to. But this transition of Airstream over to, say, the last 10 years, bringing the products into the mainstream marketplace to a much larger demographic. And
Yes.
It's interesting to hear you talk about the base camp being one of the best selling products. Talk about that transition, and you were probably involved somewhere along the way, but these were always, everybody wanted an Airstream, very few had them. They were so prestigious.
The Airstream, we never wanted to get away from our core demographic, if you wanted to kind of speak in layman's terms. We never wanted to, for those that aspire to own the piece of Americana, that iconic Airstream travel trailer, but we did want to provide the opportunity for a greater audience to enjoy. And I think it's a bit of a change in I don't know if I want to categorize them in generations, but it is a bit of a change in some of that generational thinking. Instead of waiting for retirement to kind of get off in your, plan your dreams, we call them dreamers, before they become streamers. But we're trying to have, how do we kind of create these dreams sooner? And for those that have the ability to work remotely or, have more flexible schedules, or for those like myself, when I got into it, that just wanted that kind of that weekend getaway, just to kind of, you work really hard during the week and you just want to have a kind of escapism. And that's, my girlfriend, which is now wife at the time, we would go up and down the California coast. When my daughter was born, that was our family getaway. That was our time away, just for us. My daughter was basically born, traveling around in an Airstream, at least for vacation purposes. The little screen door slider, she popped her head out. So anyway, it's a lot of great memories, a lot of fantastic memories.
All right, now I want you to put your motorized hat on, and I know this is a new division for you, but
Yeah.
tell me about a couple of the great products that you got in the motorized division.
Well, I mean, that's an area that we feel it has a lot of opportunity for us. And I think that's where a lot of excitement is. When we talk to our dealer partners, there's a lot of opportunity that they are getting excited about as well. We do very well in the B category, certainly the B diesel category. We're leaders in that category. So we continued into that, we have that luxury kind of piece, but now we're kind of moving into that adventure space like we did with Base Camp a little bit, or even Tradewind to an extent. That's kind of a nice lead in, by the way, Bob. But the 19X and the 24X are kind of designed on that adventure side of our business. For those that kind of seeking a little bit of space and time off the pavement, we have units that are designed for that. And then also the introduction of Range Line, which is in its second year. Range Line is a bit more of an affordable but yet luxurious travel or motorhome, excuse me, that Airstream has come out with recently. And then we have the chart topping Atlas, which if you really can't get much more luxurious than that in a B plus.
Beautiful, beautiful coach. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So and we have innovation there. And again, as we talk, we're restructuring some of the positions and departments since I've been in. Instead of having the traditional GM role that I kind of came from, we're trying to kind of create this or cultivate, if you will, a culture of innovation. So on the product side, we have a brand new position in place. We have a director of product strategy. Beneath him, director of product planning. The goal there is to create a 3 to 5 year business plan, really to focus on that next 3 years, and to be hyper focused on, what are we innovating? What are we doing? How are we bringing new products, new ideas, new concepts to market? We do have these exclusive stores around the country, and we need to continue to innovate to keep the brand as well as the product fresh and changing. So I think a key motivating factor within this department right now is that focus on innovation. So both from working with our dealer partners and trying to support them through different programs we have in place, like 5 Rivet, or product specific things that we have in place. Now, instead of having kind of a GM that was focusing on a whole bunch of things, we're trying to work with the dealers and our sales directors and product planning. And now we have these dedicated individuals that are hyper focused on what they need to be looking into, which is product innovation, new ideas. On our towable side, we have a pretty detailed 3 to 5 year plan. Things always change as market changes. On the motorized side, that's what we're working on now. We have our next year plan, but it's kind of in year to year. So over the course of this month and probably the next, we're going to really tighten up and button up our 3 to 5 year plan on the motorized side.
Yeah, it's very interesting to watch it develop, because again, the historical nature of Airstream was just up there in the top echelon. But the company has really been quick to respond to the changing demographics. And let's face it, there were times when regular RV dealers wouldn't even stock Class B unit because they thought it was a niche product.
Yeah.
There were times when, they didn't want to talk about overlanding and thought of that as something outside the industry, but all of a sudden it's part of the industry. So there's very few companies that have responded as quickly and understanding, but you've always had a good understanding of your customer base. That was something that you knew who your customers are, and now you're not just trying to sell the old customers new products. You're expanding the depth of the demographics that was historically Airstream, right?
I would agree with that assessment. I think that, ultimately, we try our very best to listen to our customer. We go and attend, our company rallies. We go and attend events. Myself, I am still an Airstreamer. I go and attend different events with our customers, and have formed a relationship with a lot of them. But at the same point, we want to hear the good, the bad. How can we improve? How can we continue to innovate?
That's right.
What are the areas they're looking for us? We want to, the main goal that we have working with our retail partners is to exceed our customer expectations, which, by the way, continue to grow higher and higher every year. So it's a difficult line to certainly hit, but it allows us to strive to be better and better.
They do get more demanding, but that makes us all better. So
Of course.
my guest today is Brian Melton, the new VP of Sales at Airstream. Brian, thank you very much for joining us, and you're welcome back anytime.
Hey, thanks, Bob. I appreciate it.
All right.